welcome or welcome back to Life on the Fringe. Today we have a returning guest, my sister Elena, and today we're going to be
Oh,
talking about her experience as a gay woman, um, and this is part of our series, Fabulous. Um, and this is part of our series that we're doing for Pride, where we're interviewing people who are somewhere under the rainbow flag about their experiences to increase representation. And all the interviews are just from speaking from your own personal experience um, rather than trying to speak on behalf of anybody. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So, first question. Um, So what do you think, like, how did you find out that you were gay? Like, what is your, like, coming to terms with yourself story?
what was my gay awakening?
Yeah.
My gay awakening. Okay. So probably okay. So I didn't even know what being gay was until like seventh or sixth grade. Like I didn't even know that was like an option to be gay. Like I thought you were literally only straight or alone. Like I thought that was like it. Like you were either in a relationship with a man or there was no other thing that could happen for you. That was it. So with that being said, I think it took me a lot longer to figure out myself and like knowing that I was gay because of that. I didn't know what it was. So how did I know that I was that if I didn't even know what it was? But in I think it was end of eighth grade or freshman year, I kind of like I remember writing like a little diary that I used to keep. I remember like writing out like I am gay, and then it was like a very solidifying moment for me, like in ninth grade, where I was like, fuck. I was like, dang, I just confessed that to myself. There's no going back. Like, oh my god. But then, yeah. But so that's kind of what I did when I first like was getting to myself. I would journal a lot, and like through that, I think I kind of came to terms a lot with like who I was and what I was experiencing. But then, so it's like, okay, well, you didn't know being gay was a thing. Who told you? So I had a conversation with Lily or something in like seventh grade, and she was like, "How do you feel about gay marriage?" And I was like, "What's gay marriage? I don't even know. What do you mean? What is that?" She's like, "You know, when a man and a man get married, or a woman and a woman." I was like, "I think that's fine. I don't know. I guess." Like I didn't know what to say. I was just like, okay." So then that was like the first time I was ever introduced to like what being gay meant, like at all. Like that was my first introduction to it. And then I think in eighth grade and then in high school in the beginning, I found a this YouTuber called Dodie. And I remember she put out this like song. I think it's called Girls or something like that. It was like a fucking a gay anthem, whatever. Doesn't whatever. So I watched that music video and I was like, oh my god, that's me. I whoa, like it all just clicked like in that one instance when I was watching it, and I was like, so this is my life now. Cool, okay. And I remember I would like be in my room like in eighth grade, like watching stuff on YouTube, like from Dodie and stuff, and just like figuring it all out and like being like hiding it, like trying to watch it really quiet so mom wouldn't hear or dad, whatever. But yeah, I think that was kind of like me, my awakening was like those parts. Yeah.
Mhm. And so after you figured out that you were gay and you kind of came out to yourself in your journal, what was your experience like coming out um, to the world, if you will?
Okay. So I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think I came out to myself in like December, January. Let's put this in, let's just call it freshman year to make it easier. I think it was freshman year, anyways, but I think I came out to myself in December and I didn't end up telling anyone until the spring, like in May, like May something. Um, but when I did that, the first people I came out to was my best friend Lily, Abby, and is it just those two? I feel like there was a third person there. I don't know. I feel like Angelina might have been there or something. I don't know. A couple of my friends, just like my closest friends. I remember telling them about like a song that I had written, and it was like the meaning of the song. It's not clear when you just read the lyrics, but in my head it was about me like being gay or whatever.
Mhm.
So dumb. I remember like reading them the lyrics and like coming out to them, and I came out to them, and then after that I just kind of, after I came out to those three, I like just slowly came out to more and more friends, or like I think one day I was just kind of over not like my friends not knowing, so I sent out like a paragraph text to like the friends that I wanted to know, just be like, hey, I'm gay, here's what's changed, nothing else has changed, send. And I sent like a bunch of stuff out. But I don't remember, that was probably a couple months after I told Lily and my other friends.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember when you came out to me. We came out to each other in
Mhm.
that same conversation. You came out to me first, then I came out to you. But we were driving, and we
Yeah.
were by, like the like a playground, like Mundell. Um,
Mhm.
and you were just like, I have a girlfriend. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it was so
Yeah,
like,
pretty
I
much.
don't think it was related
That
at all to
conversation was like,
anything else we were talking about.
no, I remember that conversation going like, it was like in the middle of like what we were talking about, and I just was like, hey, I have to tell you something, and you're like, what? And I was like, you can't tell mom if I tell you. And I was like, you were like, okay. And I was like, I'm gay and I have a girlfriend. You're like, oh my god, really? Me too. And I was like, what? You're gay? And you're like, no, I'm bisexual. And I was like, oh my god, what? Like, it was just like a funny moment for sure. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that. I just remember you looked so nervous, and I was like, we've been on the same team.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, I got your back.
Trap card.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so have you had so your friends seem to have overall pretty positive reactions. Um, and family pretty much as well. But have you had like negative experiences like coming out or being out? And what were those like for you, and how did you deal with that?
Um, Honestly, I've kind of been really fortunate. Like in all the people that I've come out to, I don't think I've ever like come out to someone who's been like mean about me coming out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like when I first told like mom or even Nadia too, they were just kind of like questioning. They're like, really? Like, okay, but like, and there was like some apprehension there, I think at first, but like overall, I've been very fortunate in that like I've lost none of my friends because of it. I haven't really lost any family members because of it. Like it just, it all kind of worked out. So very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I think we did get. It's very weird because I think our family is pretty understanding, but we grew up in Indiana. You know, it's a more conservative state. So I think both of us were so nervous. And even our
Yeah.
city is not that liberal. So trying to figure out like who to come out to, I think it's partially like fortunate because partially luck because of it just happened to work out. But then also, I think both of us are more like cautious people. So I think,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think both of us kind of like figure out beforehand if what we think people's responses are going to be, and then decide whether or not to come out.
Oh, for sure. I remember like, well, when I was out to my friends for probably a year and a half longer than I came out to my mom or to our mom, whatever, to mom. But yeah, I think it took me a year and a half more time. I think I just needed to be okay with myself and my friends for a little bit and like figure myself out, make sure like the labels that I gave myself, or I mean, they can change and they do change, but like at the time, I think figuring out myself and like being comfortable with myself was like way more important than coming out to my parents, because you're in high school, a lot of things can change, preferences change. Like, so I was like, is it even worth coming out? Like, I don't know if this is my life forever, like, whatever. And then eventually, as I came out, I started dating Maddie too. And a part of me really hated that I was keeping that from mom. Like, a part of me really like wanted to share that, like, you know, when you're like or girlfriend or whatever, of course you want to tell your parents like, oh my god, like I found like this person, I really like them, like yada yada. You just want to have those conversations with your parents. And I wasn't able to have those because I wasn't out and they didn't know that I was dating a girl anyways. So then I think that was kind of the main driving point after that year and a half. I was like, dang, like this kind of sucks. I've been dating Maddie now for a year. Like I want to start talking to mom and dad about it and have it be more normal or whatever. So I think that's kind of what pushed me to come out to mom. And shortly after I came out to her, she was like, are you gonna tell your dad? And I was like, okay, yeah. And then I literally like ran upstairs and told him. He was like, I kind of thought so, but I didn't want to say anything, and it's okay. I still love you. I love you no matter what. And I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. And then that was it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you also, I think with coming out, one thing that I might make a whole video about like my own experiences in this, but there's this kind of like this idea of like coming out and then you never have to do it again. I think when people who aren't like LGBTQ plus kind of have this like, yeah, you came out, it happened in the past, and you never have to come out again. But clearly that's not true.
No.
Anytime you meet somebody, you have to like, you don't have to, but you can choose to come out. They're not gonna know unless you tell them. Even if it's
right.
at fewer words, like, this is my girlfriend Maddie, or like, oh yeah, one time I was like dating, I was going on a date with blah, you know. So
Yeah.
you came out in high school. How was it different, like starting out in college? Like, how were the two different from one another?
I mean, it's pretty similar in the respect that like I still have all the friends that I had, like, you know what I mean? Like after I came out to people in college, like same thing, like good responses, like nothing bad has happened in my coming out experience thus far, knock on wood. But in college, I remember it's probably only it was either the first night on campus or the second night on campus. And me and there was like 4 suite mates and me in like a Jack and Jill dorm area, whatever, with the bathroom. And we were all chilling in there, like talking, like getting to know one another or whatever, like trying to become friends, whatever, first day of college. And my friend Simone, who I didn't know at the time, just like bust in because she thought it was like a different room than it was. And then she couldn't leave, so she like sat down with us or whatever. So it was like the 6 of us talking. And then we weren't talking for even that long when Simone came in. And then Kai was like, I really wonder who like the gay people on campus are. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, I just want to know like who the gays are. I want to know like who's gay on campus. Like I just want to know. And I was like, in that moment, time stopped. And then I was like, okay, I either have, this is the chance for me to either come out straight out of the gate and let all these people know on the first day what the fuck is going on in my life, or I could choose to just like not say anything for right now and like do it later. I'm very happy that I chose in that moment to like just come out and just like put it out there, because for me, I don't know why, but coming out, not so much anymore, but back then it was like anxiety ridden experience. So but I'm glad Kai had said something, and then I ended up coming out. I was like, oh, I'm gay, I have a girlfriend, her name's Maddie. And then everyone was like fine with it. They were like, oh my god, really, like you have a picture, like that's so fun, like oh my god. So that was a very great experience. And then I ended up like showing them pictures and whatever. But yeah, I mean, and then like at work and stuff, like you said, like you gave those examples of like my girlfriend Maddie. That's kind of more what I do if I'm like not directly trying to be like I'm gay, like, and have a conversation about it. Sure. Like I'll just like bring it up. Like if someone like makes a reference to me like being a man or something, I'll just like somewhere in the conversation throw it in, my girlfriend Maddie, like you know what I mean? Just so it's like known. But then yeah, every time I've done that too, it's just been a fine response. No one's ever said anything. So But I'm also in Hawaii, and it's not like this is a conservative state either, you know what I mean? And I'm in college, and colleges typically aren't conservative-ish. They can be, but this one isn't. So
what would you say are what is some advice you would give kids who are coming out like this Pride Month, as someone who came out like in college and who's been out in sorry, came out in high school and been out in college, what would you say is some advice that you would give from your lived experience?
Okay, first thing first, don't come out unless you're safe. Don't do that. If you are safe and you have someplace safe to stay, don't come out. It's not worth, risking your life or anything like that. Don't do that. Two, um, I don't know, in terms of coming out, I think you just in your head, I think it's a lot easier in your head to like go through and have this like masterful plan of like how you're gonna tell your mom or how the conversation's gonna go. Like you have like for me anyways, like it was always like I would plan it out and be this. I'd go in there, I'd say this first, and then I would say this. And then if they said something, I would say, well, it's not ever gonna work out like that. Like that's not how conversations work. So I guess my advice would just to be like go in with like your like one statement that you want to say that like make sure like you're okay with like mom, I just wanted to let you know I'm gay and this means X, Y, and Z for me. And then from there, I would just try to have like a genuine conversation and try to listen to the person that you're coming out to. Because if it's a parent or an older relative or someone who might be a little conservative tendencies or whatever, most of the time, like if they, when you're having this conversation, they definitely have opportunities to like be hurtful. But if it's someone you like genuinely care for and like it's your family member and like something like that, they're probably just confused more than they are trying to be like offensive to you. So my advice would just be to listen to them and listen to their opinions on things and try to not rationalize, but like try to set their mind onto the same path that yours is on. So that way they just have a better understanding, but just go in open to a conversation not being how you thought the conversation was going to go. Because really anything can happen when you come out to someone. You don't know how they're going to react. So you just kind of have to have yourself in order, make sure you're confident with who you are. I would make that one sentence statement. That's kind of my go-to. Like if I am coming out to someone who's important, like just get one sentence where you have everything that you kind of want to say it, and then just kind of let the conversation go as it does and
Mhm.
keep it open with who you're talking to.
Right. No, I think that's good advice. It's funny that you say that because mom and I were talking about our coming out experience, like her side of coming out from us in an interview that's coming out after this one. But we've already had that talk, and I know she said that I came out in like the worst possible way. You can catch that in that episode.
Right.
Um, but my advice is somewhat similar but slightly different. Mine was I definitely agree with yours, like having one statement and then being like open to where it goes. Mine was just like I wish I had planned for it to go well as it going poorly because in my
Mm,
head I anticipated like protecting myself and like I was very safe and I
mm,
like set up the conversation for failure. Like not set it up for failure because it went well the conversation, but like
yeah.
I I set it up to protect myself at but then I didn't leave space for it to go well. And
Mm,
so the conversation got kind of cut short because I had anticipated it going more poorly, which I don't think was
right.
fair. It's not like I thought she was going to react super negatively, but just like in case, like my cautious side took over. And I wish that I would
Oh
have
yeah.
done more of the planning for if it went well too.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a great point too because I feel like in well, when I came out to mom, it was a long conversation, probably like 40 minutes. We were like talking about everything or whatever. But yeah, I agree. I think like for us in our situation, we both have a lot of anxieties about things. So I think it's just in our brains to just like bunker down and prepare for the worst and pack every like first aid kit possible, like just in case something were to go wrong. Like I think that's just kind of how we think. But yeah, that's good advice to plan for it to go good. So then like you can further the conversation and get more in depth about sexuality and like ask different interesting questions that maybe they never thought of before and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, and what would you say advice for people who are like parents of kids who have come out this Pride Month, and also for allies in general? What do you think like their role should be in advocating for LGBTQ plus rights?
Mm. For parents, if you're a supportive parent, keep supporting your kid. Um, just know that like if your kid is coming out to you like young, like in middle school and high school, even in college, like things change. Your kid's probably gonna change, labels might change, things might change. Just be willing for the change to happen and kind of you don't have to anticipate the change, but as a parent, it's probably like a good thought to keep in the back of your head that like, this is all brand new stuff and my kid is young. They're not even grown into like a full adult yet. Like they're still figuring out who they are. Like obviously like this is their preferred label for now, but it might change later. And just allowing your kid to be flexible, I think will make them happy and then will make the family environment happier, right? If everyone's happy, everybody's happy. So, but yeah, I think that's a big one is trying to, maintain that flexibility within your relationship, everything. And then for allies, what allies can do? I think the best thing that they can do is just like I've experienced getting called like gay or like a homo or just like people saying that kind of things around me while I'm in the setting in the space with them. And my friends Kai and Solomon and stuff have like stood up for me and like called me out like, hey, like don't say that, like you shouldn't say like that's gay, I mean it's stupid or like whatever, just like saying something to them to make them stop using that language. And when I'm in a space that's not strictly a gay space and there's like straights in there, especially in this situation that I'm talking about, because it was like a bruh dude, like a Brad kind of guy saying this crap. So it's like Brad would probably listen to a hot straight girl telling him to not say gay and don't say like be homo and stuff. Like he's more likely to not say those things because she's telling him, not a big fat lesbian like me. You know what I mean? Like if I were to stick up for myself in that space, like it might put me in a different, it just might put me in a weird situation where he's not really wanting to listen to me and he's thinking I'm stupid for like even talking to him kind of a thing. Where if Kai or some of my other straight friends are chiming in with me or they're doing it, like taking it upon themselves to take care of the situation, like it might just better. So in that sense, I think like a really good thing that allies could do is just like be sticking up for your friends in the LGBT community in whatever space that you're in with them, and just keep open ears and correct people if they're saying something that's offensive or they shouldn't be saying. Because I don't think straight people like allies really understand. I feel like they have a lot of power in those situations with like straight people versus straight people. Like a straight person saying like don't say gay, don't, that has a lot more power than I think like a gay man would telling a straight man, you know what I mean? So but yeah, in my experiences that's what I have experienced anyways. But yeah, I think just sticking up for your friends and keeping your ears open and trying to shut down all those stereotypes and stuff.
Yeah, and I would definitely second that. I think with straight allies, if you're not the target of the offensive statement, it can't turn into them attacking you. Like they
Yeah.
might not agree with like you like saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that." They might argue with you over like the statement, but they won't come at you as a person. And I think that's what gives straight people so much more power talking to other straight peoples and why allies are so important because it keeps it focused on the topic versus putting yourself in danger for like an attack potentially.
Yeah.
It's changing from
No, exactly, because it's like if I were to be like, hey, like don't say that, like don't say like that something's gay, like I'm gay, that really hurts my feelings. Oh, you're gay, haha. It could turn into that quick. You know what I mean? If you're if you do that. But if a straight person says that to someone, it's not like they're gonna say that shit to them. You know what I mean? They just won't. So yeah.
right. Um, no, I definitely agree. And do you have any final thoughts that you want to put out there something I missed, something I didn't ask you, or if you don't, what would be your recommends for like either an LGBT centered book or a song or artist or something like that?
Ooh, that's a fun little last question. Okay. Okay. Favorite band of all time is Paris, and the lead singer Lynn Gunn is a Dollar Bean. Love her. She's queen. Love that band. Another great Dollar Bean artist is Lauren Sanderson. Also a queen. Love her. She's from Indiana. That's fun.
Mhm.
That. Um, let's see. A good book. What the heck is that book called? It's like, okay, have you seen the movie Carol with Kate Blanchett?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, that gay movie has a book. I don't know what it's not called Carol, it's called something else. But that's a great book. It's a great book. It's like one of the only books I've ever read. So I don't read very much, but yeah, that's a good one. Those are my recommendations. I don't know. I think we covered everything. I hope. I hope this was a productive conversation.
I think it was. And great recommendations. I definitely second those. You introduced me to both of those bands slash artists, and they're on my Spotify playlist. I play them in the shower. Um,
They're great. I love them.
definitely. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on and having this conversation. If y'all watching have any comments or questions for either me or Elena, you can leave them in the comments below. If you want to see more of our content, Pride themed or otherwise, click subscribe, ding the bell button to know when we post, which is every day again. And I hope you have a wonderful day and a very happy Pride. Bye.